Hey, back again for the 100th episode!
For the record, we have been here for years. We just haven't been talking to you yet. And that is the truth.
It's the 100th episode!
We're starting our podcast on the 100th episode to get it out of the way. You know, because most people worry about, are we going to make it?
Different milestones that you can approach, and yet...
We're almost to 2 years, buddy. Oh, wonderful. Are we rolling?
It's fun talking guns. Matter of fact, it's a blast when you're hanging out with the Pizza Party Destiny Podcast.
Hello, fellow Guardians.
Please take this.
Welcome to the first episode of the Pizza Party, the Destiny Podcast.
Where we talk to you about all things Destiny.
So much stuff, Destiny, that you'll have to write some stuff down.
Grab a pen. Today, we're going over the TWAB, as usual. We're going to talk about Trials of Osiris.
That's number one.
And as usual, we plan to break down weapon perks, exotics, things that we think are underappreciated, underused, and under the radar.
First few things in the TWAB, some minor stuff. Let's get it out of the way before we hit the exotics, because exotics got meaty. So first off, let's talk about power level. It's going up to 1,000. We're not just going up to 10, we're going up a few now. So we're going to be at 1,000 for the regular power level, and Pinnacle is going to be 1,010. Soft cap is obviously raising as well, but that's much more minor.
In the dev notes, they specifically said it was to create that power disparity between weapons that might in the future fall off, rip all your favorite guns. Pinnacle sources are being
flushed out into
increased. Strikes,
Zavala,
Crucible,
Shax,
I'm assuming Gambit.
I can only imagine.
I'd have to look.
Weekly stuff. Clan
rewards. They're just allowing you to get more pinnacles per week to help mitigate that grind of getting the same chess piece over and over again.
Prime Engrams now are going to be, when they are an armor drop, the armor drops are going to be higher.
And spikier distributions. That is my favorite terminology I've ever read in a TWAB.
That's so good.
Spikier distributions. It also extends a lot of that stuff to exotics. So we should be seeing exotic rolls that
drop
are
higher,
generally higher, and legendary rolls that you see higher stuff more frequently. I've been playing heavily since Armor 2.0 came out, and I can say definitively that getting a piece of gear with a 60-plus roll is exclusive to exotics, and maybe raid gear.
Few and far between.
It would not have a good stat distribution. So you're looking at quite a bit of RNG to fight through in order to get a good.
Getting 4 or 5 on a certain
piece.
stat is just like it's not doing anything for you.
No. So the good changes. I think those will help. I think it's a good.
And then in Dream, you're getting legendaries that are dropping that you get to look at the stats, and not only are they higher, but you get to look and see where the stats are. Not like, oh, this is a 52, this is a 52, this is a 52. Now they're going to be maybe 58s, and you actually get to look and start picking the pieces you want for your
I can't wait
sets.
to see 58s.
Dude.
Regularly?
Oh, from
maybe,
Crimes and Pinnacles?
Yeah.
It sounds great. The artifact, they already said that they're disabling it for trials and anything power enabled, right? But the big thing that they did say was they are working on figuring out how it's going to be, how they can change that and it's actually implemented.
You're all over the place as far as where we're at in the TWAB, but I'll keep up with you.
Cool.
Trials artifact lit the stratosphere on fire. The idea
it was a quick turnaround.
Yes, but the idea that this isn't being brought up prior to
you gotta say this in R&D and stuff.
It kind of wrinkles my brain that they were like, yeah, we'll just let the people who have the most time and grind monotonous activities have the best advantage
in the game for a
PvP
living.
Endgame. That's really strange to me. I'm glad that they immediately acted and said, well, that's not good. They did say in this TWAB that artifact power will not be affected during the first weekend.
All bets are off.
All bets are off. If you can hook up a bunch of artifact power, which I don't think will be excessive.
Well, because you'll be grinding too.
Everybody's already trying to level up to 1,000 or beyond. before Trials launches.
960, I think it was.
960. They already said that. Okay.
950 or 960.
So like at the very least, there has to be like a minimum disparity or a maximum disparity. I mean, it's like you can
only go
be
so far in each side.
So far away from them, yeah. Which is not a bad idea. But yeah, since it's not a thing, boy, it's gonna be confusing going into Trials. Like, I'm gonna look at the people I'm going up against, and I'm going to notice that like they're all higher light than me. But then you can like them inspect their gear and be like,
you'll see how much
it's because of the artifact, so you can actually see their actual light level. It's just another layer of like kind of confusion. Maybe that's why they were originally like just let artifact power be part of it. It's part of the leveling process. I don't think they were really thinking like one guy in a moon lost sector is going to be 1,030 in how long. And they're just going to be a terror inside of Trials.
Yeah. Oh god, that sounds horrible.
So yeah,
so that's the artifact.
So that's the artifact. It's good that they changed it. Hats off to Luke Smith tweeting out within 2 days.
Yeah, very quick.
Like we're changing this.
Next on the agenda, I think it was Eververse.
Yeah, Eververse is still terrible. It's not changing, bro.
It's not nothing changing. Don't worry. It's just gonna still be there. There will be some older items that are popping up daily that you can buy for just straight silver.
Eververse is basically staying the same. They're gonna get a giant stock refresh, while many vendors in the tower continue to suffer from blandness and years of neglect. Right. As far as exotics are concerned, this is beefy.
Yeah, we're gonna go through each of them. Some of them we're gonna go real quick on.
Campbell's chunky.
A lot of stuff is very, minuscule stuff. But the big ones, they're going to hurt, and you're going to know it.
We'll start with Hunter Exotics. We're going to pour one out for our boy, Orpheus Riggs. Orpheus Riggs is officially getting changed. The maximum amount of regeneration you can get from a single Shadow Shot has been cut to 50%. From, I'm assuming 100%.
I'm pretty sure it was 100%. I think it's always been 100%.
Shadow Shot is broken. And now it will be less broken. Perhaps that's an easier way to say it.
50% is still a lot of
It's still really good, and it's still going to be the best
still very good.
Void if you're using Shadow Shot as like a support super. There's obviously no competition still.
I mean, use Quiver sometimes though, man. It does some damage. It does pretty darn good damage.
Yeah, use Capri's Sting, why don't you?
Yeah, use the cowl. As you cowl.
Moving on to Titans. Your favorite class. Crayons are now... We'll get you some crayons, trust me.
I only like the green ones. They're the tastiest.
I'll bring you some crayons. Finally, this has been a problem since the beginning of Forsaken. The one-eyed mask. Just, are you ready for this patch now? Are you ready for this bullet point I'm about to read you?
This is what we've all been kind of waiting for. Trials, baby. Come on. You gotta get real with it.
Yeah, I mean, this is ridiculous. The target marking from this exotic has been replaced with target highlighting, eliminating the ability to detect targets through walls.
Wall hacks.
Wall hacks gone.
It just can't be for Trials, It's
so
too good.
Powerful.
It's too good for Trials.
So exceptionally powerful that I play PvP exclusively on my Titan. Advantages that you get from being able to see someone who is... Relax. The advantages that you get from being able to fight somebody with wall hacks are so massive, combined with a damage buff and instant healing, is so unbelievably broken. The one-eyed mask has been, in my opinion, I play PvP enough. It has been a consistent problem for well over a year, and it has been addressed very slightly. Like, I think it's been hit twice, and neither time did they think that tracking through walls was maybe a little too strong. The overshield is good, but I think like that's the exoticness of it. Like if you win the fight with the guy, you get the overshield.
You're powered up, ready to go. You got no downtime. That's really good. That's still very, very good.
But like
very viable.
The ability, like again, and I like to play fusion rifles. And if you have wall hacks and a fusion rifle,
timing.
It is insanely easy to pre-charge around a corner, and you know exactly what corner of the room they're sitting in.
Voop into oblivion.
Yeah, so like this is good change. There's actually more here. It no longer provides a damage buff when defeating the enemy. It says
wall
marked.
hacks damage buff.
It says marked, but they mean highlighted.
And we brought back
restored the previous overshield granted by defeating your marked target, which now has a duration of 6 seconds, down from 8. So they brought the overshield back because that was their original let's nerf it idea. And what they're doing is they're removing the wall hacks, they're removing the damage buff. If you win your 1v1, you will gain the overshield. I'm assuming it will be bam, instant.
If it was like how it used to be.
If it was how it is, like you'll almost immediately have like start charging overshield. And the person that you're about to fight is going to be scared. So I think the viability of the exotic will still be there, but I believe when you start gunning someone down and they're trying to gun you down, I think it's like, certain scopes have highlight enemy targets. They give them a little red outline.
Yeah, it's just going to make it easier for you to track that.
I imagine that will be like what happens. You'll get a red outline around whoever you're fighting. But if they go behind a wall, the outline disappears.
It's gonzo. There we go.
Bungie, if you watch this stupid little show of ours, if you see us talking, thank you.
Yeah.
This is something that needed to be addressed a long time ago, and I'm really glad that you're at least still looking at things like this.
So we'll push into, now we're on Warlock
We're
Exotics.
on to Warlock Exotics, which is super sweet, super excited. This first one, Apotheosis Veil.
Oh, the implications.
The implications. This is not a great exotic, and it will continue to not be a great exotic.
But it doesn't matter. We're not really talking about
this
that.
This exotic is now guaranteed to drop with a minimum plus 16 intellect.
The implications.
Excuse me? Did you just say that you can tune a specific piece of gear
to drop
to have stat distributions?
In the way that you want it? Or maybe the way that the exotic works?
I think that, like,
wow!
This is something that I have talked about with Light a lot. And something like Sunbracers, which is built around using your melee to get grenades, should have melee energy associated with it.
Strength would be a little bit higher than some of the
Similarly,
other ones.
Doom Fangs are built around your melee. How about melee energy being built into it? Or the Getaway Artists for Warlocks. Grenade energy should be absolutely always on the
correlate
piece.
with what the exotic
again, right here, this exotic is now guaranteed to drop with a plus 16 intellect. I would like to see that extended to every exotic. Maybe as long as it's associated with any of your abilities. If it's about a class ability, it should have that class ability stat.
Exactly.
If it's about melee, it should have strength. If it's about grenades, it should have discipline. And if it's about supers, it should have intellect.
Would this make me think that when they talk about
spikier distributions,
would that maybe that should be on exotics too? And if if they can control some of those distributions, would be great. If you're gonna do it for Apotheosis Veil, you need to start putting it on other stuff that matters to people. Because I'm sorry, but Apotheosis Veil, nobody's putting that on. I don't think I've seen
100% agree. The only reason that there's any in my vault was the idea that this patch note would read something like, "It's good now," but it doesn't. Again, the implication is great.
Apotheosis Veil now wins the game.
It's now but regardless, it's now looked at as the higher echelon of how to design stat distributions for exotics.
They need to jump on that.
Verities Brow. This is
awesome.
This is sweet.
Super sweet.
The buff provided by this exotic now increases your grenade damage by 10% per stack. I believe it stacks 3 times, and the exotic itself returns nade energy. So that's a big change. Just makes your nades stronger as well as getting more of them. The buff to allies grenade recharge rate now kicks in when you cast your grenade. So my assumption is like maybe you build the stack on yourself by getting kills with your energy weapon, which is how Verities works. And then when I toss my nade, I like send that stack out to everybody. I don't know exactly if that's going to be how it works.
Going from an exotic that wasn't used very much into an exotic where we actually maybe get to start doing some builds with it. And
I have good rolls on Verities Brow.
Think about like using a gun that's got Demolitionist on it.
An energy gun with demo? Holy buckets. I was not thinking about that.
Nades, and you're throwing them, and then you're reloading.
Yeah, and then also like Breach Resonator on your chest piece paired with... Okay, so I'm thinking I have an infinite paths with demo and swashbuckler, right? So a good damage perk, and I'm buffing my grenades while I shoot. I'm now also buffing based on my helmet, which is Verities Brow, and Breach Resonator on my chest piece, which gives me grenade energy. I think that I could get like...
Let's hope it is next season, though.
But if it is, it will definitely be like you can triple up on demo on a single weapon, and you can run like the strongest grenade builds.
You gotta make builds. That's the whole thing about this game. You gotta
makes
try
Destiny
to do builds.
fun.
Yeah.
Like when you're picking your exotic for
abilities.
PvE specifically, and you're deciding like, oh, I want to play this way. I think part of what makes Destiny great is that like you really can sink your teeth into one specific style, and like I want to throw grenades all day, every day. or I want to
my
I want to be
way
shoulder
up.
charging as many times as I can.
Yeah.
To gain. Maybe you're using Doomfang.
Or Skull Fart.
Yeah,
and you're generating your nades, and you're just working it all together.
You're proccing all this stuff in tandem. Yeah,
everything's helping out each other.
This is a good change to
You're gonna learn
Verities
that
Brow.
about us. We love the builds, man. We're gonna tell you a lot of builds, fun builds to do.
It also says this exotic now provides a buff text notification indicating how many players are currently benefiting from your increased grenade charge rate.
Sweet.
So yeah, it's just getting us a buff to grenade damage. And
good job, Bungie, bringing another exotic up to
yeah, honestly, I'd like to see this done with like a million more exotics, but this is a good start. Like a lot of these are underused, underperforming, under the radar, and it's cool to see them be like,
for sure.
What if this was something good? This is just cleanup for the TWAB, not like the most important stuff. The legendary engram pool is being increased in armor sets from 3 to 11.
Bunch more, adding faction armor.
That is 8 additional sets per character.
Faction armor that when you get the faction armor, it has the ornaments in there if you got ornaments from the other factions.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yes, it says this will include faction rally armor, players who previously acquired the ornaments.
That's even adding more armor sets.
Yes.
That's even more than one.
And it makes me wonder how many of the sets that are being added of those 11 are the sets from. So if it's like, is it just one set per character?
And then you get to like get the ornaments or all the ones.
Yeah, I guess.
Or is that filling up those spots?
It's a little confusing because we can assume that at least each character is getting 3 new sets, one from each faction. It also says here to elaborate several sets that were previously unavailable or extremely difficult to acquire. I'd like to dig into that. Are now available as world drops. So part of those 11 sets are now sets that were either previously unavailable or extremely difficult to acquire. With that said, what sets were previously difficult to acquire that are now like hidden in these engrams? I don't know. I'm excited to see
Let us know.
Yeah. If you find something cool,
find out together.
I was trying to think of things from like year one, and year one it was like, here's all the stuff. There wasn't a single armor set in the game.
NPCs. They're all all the sets are there.
It was never
difficult.
difficult. So I'm excited to see what they added. Armor stat distributions, we already went over that. Legendary armor has
UI changes.
User interface, the setting screen UI layout on console has been changed to match the experience on PC.
Cool.
Allowing for future updates. Okay, so
field of view.
Shut it.
Slide.
If there was a field of view slider or an FOV changer or anything ever coming to console Destiny, it needed to start with this UI change. So the fact that they're saying like maybe in the future, like
please,
what if they're already planning a Xbox Series X update that will include 60 FPS field of view stuff for console users? We play on Xbox, by the way. We don't swim in frames. We chug it through frames. Okay, our experience is different.
We hold on for dear life.
We hold on and hope our game doesn't crash. Added the ability to change the color of the reticle on console. Love it. It says you can choose from 7 different colors. I'm assuming it says matching PC, so I'm assuming that's how it works on PC. That's great. I'd love to do a little teal or a yellow. Sometimes it's hard to see.
Oh yeah, darker stuff, man. That HDR makes that stuff so dark. It'd be nice to really put it out outside.
100%. 100%. Added hint text during loading screens, so they're going to be like, "Don't forget to check out lost sectors while you're flying to planets." I don't know.
Don't forget to use
whatever. That's cool. I've heard of worse things. Added comma separators to the glimmer count in the loot stream. No longer keeps this dev awake at night. I like that.
Get some sleep, buddy.
Cheeky Bungie. Added categories to the quest screen. They elaborated on this earlier. That quests are just getting kind of an overhaul. It says it has a bunch of categories, but I'm not going to read them all off to you. It's basically for countless times. Do you remember your quests?
It's not a jumble of everything
your
together
quests
anymore.
Used to be next to your masterwork cores in your inventory. It was not good.
Nutty.
So the more changes, the better. Performance issues, they fixed UI stuttering and frame rate drops.
Oh, when it's going slowly across the thing.
Or applying mods. So that's a big change.
That's huge.
I know it's bad on PC too, but on console, it can literally feel like
it's not moving.
I think my game's frozen.
It looks like it's frozen.
It looks really bad.
Over here trying to reset.
That's great. I'll believe it when I see it. Improved frame rate in Gambit Prime. Frame rate issues through the Sanctified Mind encounter in Garden. Sanctified Mind is the final boss, I believe. The Consecrated Mind is the the Harpy boss. So yeah, this will be the final encounter. I'm assuming they in Last Wish, in order to prevent some of this stuff, they would go in and remove certain architecture just to lower how much is being loaded. I'm assuming they did some cleanup to help fix that. Otherwise, it's just frame rate issues, general improvements on PC when there's lots of
quality of life stuff.
So that's it for the
You won't
TWAB.
really notice it, but it'll just be better.
That wraps up the TWAB.
That is the TWAB.
Sorry that it was so long. Normally, it's not going to take us that long to go over it, and normally I don't want to read it verbatim. I also don't like reading it off my phone. But we'll get there. We're going to figure out a way to read this stuff a little bit faster. And most TWABs aren't going to be...
Majority time is less.
Campbell's chunky, just constant info, really small, subtle stuff. We're going to move to a more brief overhaul of the TWAB and move on to the subject of the day. The subject of the day is...
The big one.
The Trials of Osiris. Our boy. He's back for the third time.
He's older than ever.
But this time he's bringing with him the endgame PvP mode, Trials of Osiris.
Pinnacle.
You either love it or you hate it to death. It is the
sweatiest.
The sweaty. It is the intense.
Rage-inducing.
Curse words will be said.
Flare jars are going through the roof.
All to get yourself to the lighthouse and try to reap those sweet rewards.
That loot. I think, first of all, love it or hate it, the rewards is what's going to put you in it. Even if you 100%. Hate it, I've seen some things. A lot of people have been dissecting the Vidoc and stuff, seen a lot of guns, seen a lot of maybe is it the Inward Lamp?
Is it this? Is it that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Where people are kind of speculating what these weapons might be like.
We heard a lot about Doctor passing, Mr. Dr. Passion Fruit. Coming back to us. That's a dirty gun.
Yeah.
That's a dirty bird. Should we talk about the implications that might bring?
So yeah, with these,
it's a witch hunt right now, but
a lot of people are saying that it's possible that we might see a reintroduction of the 900 RPM auto rifle.
Fastest auto rifles.
Now, when Destiny 2 launched, the bullet hose archetype had been relegated to SMGs only. There's actually two archetypes, lightweight and adaptive SMGs,
900.
that fire at 900 RPM, and they changed the bullet hose style autos to be the rapid fire frames 720 RPM. I did see a post on Reddit where someone had mentioned they were timing out how fast the new exotic auto from the trailer
beats per minute of the trailer.
Yeah, which they said which based on their calculations was right around 900 RPM. Again, just speculation. I would love it.
Oh, please.
Lightweight autos or something. I don't know. Pick
Dude.
We could call them aggressive.
That'd be way too
aggressive
good.
autos
Bullet
or something.
Hose and it's lightweight. That'd be so cool.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is that maybe...
level.
So we'll see how this works. Again, mad speculation. This could all be completely wrong.
Oh, yeah.
People are assuming these guns match up with guns we've had in the past. Whether it's the same archetype or...
Even if you hate reskins, man, you gotta admit, those guns were, pretty...
They looked good during their
so
time.
great.
And they've been repainted, which I don't have a problem with the reskin element of it.
They never had perks that we have now.
For anyone that didn't notice, they're black, too. Like the Doctrine was black. And then the Lighthouse guns, the Adept versions...
were gold.
And these are black. So it kind of implies that...
Maybe we're getting an Adept version of guns with... I doubt an extra perk.
Intrinsic perk?
That would be bonkers.
No, I agree.
Because the intrinsicness is the frame now.
Yeah, there wasn't intrinsic perks the way we have them now. Back in the past, we had a couple different iterations of how Trials guns were going to work. I remember that with Doctor of Passion, it was a one random perk situation. Static roll across the board. Adept versions had an additional perk. Now, do you think we'll see something like that? Static rolls with maybe one random perk? Or do you think we'll see, even in the later portions of D1, I think the weapon was called Blind Perdition. There were a few different ones.
Oh, yeah.
I can't remember all of their names.
Snapshot was their intrinsic.
They had intrinsic
Burning
Snapshot, Burning Eye, and then what they also had, though, was they had a set roll. These were, and I believe they had selectable perks in every slot.
Yeah, it was.
So you could kind of modify it how you wanted
it. 1-3-1, you get 2-2-2.
You were gonna get a roll that's good because it was always a set roll, and you could choose the perks that you prefer.
What do you think? They're like, they must like static rolls.
I mean, it's possible. They certainly failed on that front. But yeah, so anyway, we've got randomness back. I think, gun to my head right now, Doctrine to my head, I would say I would prefer it the way that it was when Doctrine came out. Mm-hmm. Sort of like King's Fall Raid. Mm-hmm. It's like the weapon is set in stone. There's one perk that you're probably searching for that you want the best one.
And this is perks that, this is D2 perks. This is Swashbuckler. This is multi-kill clip. This is stuff that
different perks.
D1's never seen.
You used to be able to get counterbalance on it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And now if it's a different frame, like that's not a perk that you're going to see on this weapon.
It might be squirrely.
So it's going to be squirrely, especially on console. Us console users, SMGs and like fast firing autos,
Field of View.
They can fly away from you pretty quickly.
It's a little radical.
Trials is only open on the weekends. Trials comes around on Fridays. I am one of, I'm assuming, many Guardians that works exclusively on the weekends. Friday, Saturday, Sunday is not a day off these aren't days that I get access to. He mentions like meeting up on Fridays was like their thing. Mm-hmm. Well, like for someone like me, like it definitely puts a damper on the excitement factor because arbitrarily having the weekend be the only time, it negatively affects my experience. I still enjoy trials and I'm still excited because I normally have Mondays off after the busy weekends are over. Mm-hmm. And that's great. Maybe I can set up my team for Monday.
I think they're just trying to bring back that nostalgia factor of the whole, like, this is the thing, man. This is the weekend thing. Bringing all these streamers in, trying to get, all that working again. That's going to bring a lot of life to the game. But, yes, it is going to hit hard for people that, like you said, like, people aren't going to be even able to play it that much. Like, Mondays is going to be our day to play a lot of trials.
Absolutely. And don't get me wrong. I'm excited about it, and I think it's cool. I just think that, like, maybe having a system where it resets your rewards on Friday, but the mode is available always. Yeah. You can have it so that the rewards reset on Friday, so that there is an excitement thing to go, oh, it's Friday, we got to go get in there. It's sort of like Tuesday raid day for us. We love raiding on Tuesday because all the rewards have reset. Go and try and get a random roll from one of these raids. I'm not de-incentivized to do the raids because they're available all week.
I think it, like how you kind of said, pardon my French, it's going to be
pizza
show these first two because a meta's got a
new sandbox.
It's going to take place. There's going to be a lot of parts moving.
Artifact power is still active.
Test
people
guns.
Getting pinnacle gear.
Test guns. You're not going to want to just go in there with things that you think are the best. It's going to be a new meta. Try new exotics. Try new things. Have fun. Don't
certain tried and true things I think will work going into it, but there's so much quick random modifications to the sandbox that like I run fusions all the time might be struggling to get those fusion boops. Mm-hmm. Similarly, like shotguns are not going to have range value changes when aiming down sights. Mm-hmm. Everybody's shotgun is now going to be slightly harder to use.
Everyone's going to have to figure out how to play the game again, kind of, with these fusions and these shotguns.
And it's a super passive mode.
You've seen hunters, like, eventually they're jumping past you and they're shooting you, and it's like, you've practiced that a million times. Like, with a shotgun or a thing, like, that's going to be all different now. When you jump, it's not going to just whoop onto the head. You're going to have to put it there, and you're going to have to hope that it's hitting center mass.
And they're not changing slug shotties, which is great, because I love me a slug shotty.
Dude, I'm practicing with them.
They're very good.
I know they're going to be.
I think they're going to be very good in the next sandbox.
Precision is
Chaperone's like a fusion rifle.
But that's trials, right? Precision is key. Like you got.
Yes, and like I just said, it's a very passive mode where people are going to be baiting out supers. They're going to be waiting in lanes with snipers. Yep. Like it's the type of mode.
Revoker.
I mean, let's not overstay our welcome in our conversation about trials, but Revoker is gonna get addressed.
Things that do big damage quickly.
Yes.
Hand cannon, sniper, shotguns, things that hit so hard and fast where it's easy to clean up, or you get the kill, or this or that. You're gonna really, really want
relative safety.
You're gonna want to pay attention to that. It's a whole different style of game. It's not like anything we've been playing. 6v6 is you're just running into people.
That's probably all we need to say for now. I'm sure there's plenty to talk about more with trials.
Next episode, we're going to talk about our first impressions of trials for sure.
I will complain loudly at my experience, and I'm excited to do so.
Most certainly. And on to our third and final topic.
Topic of the day.
Ending topic. We just want to kind of give you something to think about over this time and something to look for maybe in these new guns coming out.
The perk that we wanted to break down was Demolitionist, and
it would come up right here.
Oh, are we doing that? Demolitionist, right here for you. Not concrete numbers, because Destiny is a feel game.
Oh.
I could have gone in and timed everything out.
Nobody wants to listen to numbers.
What's fascinating about the perk is that I feel like in a situation where you have to give up Swashbuckler or Rampage, you can think about your grenade as the bonus damage, right? So maybe it takes 5 kills to get your nade back with the shotgun. I'm assuming it's around 20%.
Let's tell people what Demolitionist does, though.
Yeah.
So first off, it gives you grenade energy back, depending on the weapon that you're using. Primary, special.
Primary, special, heavy.
And throwing a grenade refills your magazine from the gun that you were holding.
Especially with special weapons, because I believe, roughly speaking, you get about 10% back from having it on a primary.
Yep.
You get about 20% back from having it on a special weapon.
Yep.
And I think it's about still 20%, maybe slightly higher for a heavy. I didn't really do the testing.
This and this.
But it's enough to know that, like, if I'm running a high discipline build and I get 4 kills with the shotgun that has demo on it, I'm definitely going to have my nade back. And I can reload that shotgun with that grenade.
Majority of the time.
So if I start my engagement with a nade, kill out 5 guys, and end my engagement with a nade, I've effectively completely reduced reloads inside of my playstyle, and I'm able to throw additional grenades. So you can do these super sweet builds. We were talking about Verities Brow earlier, where you can run Demolitionist on your primary weapon, which is in your energy slot, because it pairs with energy kills from Verities Brow. So you're now getting Demolitionist grenade energy plus Verities Brow energy.
What is that going to stack up to?
And then maybe even if they add another Breach Resonators type, then it's like maybe I'm getting 30% back per kill. That's a lot of grenade energy.
Oh, that's a lot. I use grenades in Destiny literally all the time.
I think to some degree people
It's
see
all about
it
abilities.
and they're like, oh, grenades, like, it's okay. I think I'd rather just reload quicker. But on a weapon like a fusion, like the Gallant Charge or the Perfect Paradox that are out now,
you're removing the reload,
yes,
and you're adding throwing a nade. That's more damage. Your reload is turning into damage.
Yes, and that's another good thing that I think a lot of people overlook about the power of Demolitionist.
Okay.
Both you and I have a Doomsday with Demolitionist on it. Now, I'm allowed to shoot 6 or 7 grenades for my demo, or for my Doomsday, and then instead of reloading it or swapping to another weapon, I can literally throw a grenade and toss 7 for my reserves back into it.
Instantly.
So 7 out, grenade, 7 out.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never done the DPS test.
That's no downtime.
That's really good, and it unlocks, like, shotguns have been hit really hard since autoloading's been removed from the game.
Perfect Paradox is insane.
Being able to go in with 8 shots into a major, or like let's say it's a spider tank, and I take out its leg, and it drops, and then as soon as it hits the ground, I toss a nade on top of it, and I've reloaded 8.
And you go right back.
Now I jump on top of it, and I keep going. It's like, I think that there's a level of, like, maybe people just don't realize how strong that is. The ability to go 16 shots with a shotgun without loading, and, like, the small amount you do take is adding a grenade to your damage. Yeah. Similarly, like, I saw Error has a video out about grenade launcher damage in the new patch. He says adaptives might start to peak out,
creep up because aggressives
aggressives are changing to rapid frames,
and that's probably going to,
and they're going to go down a little bit. So he said that, like, to some degree, adaptive frames with the right perk sets are going to be maybe even a little better, which is cool. I like to see change ups like that.
Is edgy trans?
Eddie Trans is void adaptive. Yeah. You've got a bunch of arc ones.
Everyone, you got a god roll. You definitely got a god roll.
Everybody's got an Eddie. No, but so what I was going to say, though, is that with Demolitionist on a grenade launcher, I do believe that will be viable damage. Right. I do think shooting 7 grenades, throwing a grenade of your own, and then shooting 7 more grenades from your launcher, I think that's going to be viable.
And pairing Demo with another damage perk is actually insane. So, like, what you're thinking is, you're always thinking...
It's true.
Let's talk about Gatos, obviously. It's always a damage perk, and you usually got a reload perk.
On primary weapons.
In primary weapons. Instead of that reload perk, you're technically still having a reload perk. Demolitionist is a reload perk.
It is a reload
perk. But now
yes.
it's adding to the build. It's increasing the capabilities of nades. Like, I'm putting discipline mods on a lot of my stuff. Nades are, like, some of the strongest stuff and some of the good ad clear stuff, AoE damage that you need. And Demolitionist is one of the best ways to take advantage of grenades.
Of course.
By a long shot.
Absolutely. And if you think, like I said before, if you think about it as your damage... It's like, for every 4 kills with my shotgun, I'm just about there with a grenade. If you think about that grenade, instead of having Rampage or Swashbuckler, I get a grenade.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of changes your the way you perceive the perk. I think it's very, very strong. I think if you can find weapons like Perfect Paradox or Gallant Charge or some of the weapons that are going to go away, Jack, Queen, King, what's the Pulse? Infinite Paths. If you can get those with a damage perk and Demolitionist, you're looking pretty. That's a very, very strong combo, and it's going to do you well for until they delete it.
Yeah, Demolitionist, it's under the radar, like we said. Look for it on different guns, and especially in Season of the Worthy. I can only imagine they're not going to just go stray away from it, because this season most certainly was Season of Demolitionist.
Yeah, this is the first season we've ever seen where Demolitionist and a damage perk were together. Obviously, we're telling you all this now as Season of the Worthy is coming out, and none of that's available to you. But it's something to look for in these new weapons.
It's good information to know.
If Demo Rampage, Demo Swash, Demo Dragonfly are available on a gun, you can find a great roll of that weapon.
Oh, yeah.
If you Dragonfly kill someone with a precision, and then that explosion goes off,
hit another enemy.
Any enemy that dies counts towards Demolitionist. You can receive 20, 30, 40% if you're firing into a crowd of ads.
That's great.
That's impressive.
Seriously, look for it. With that, that's going to wrap up our first episode of the Pizza Party Destiny Mother Loving Podcast. And we just want to thank you guys. We're going to be here and we're going to stay consistent.
Yeah, every week. Expect episodes on
Mondays.
We'll keep you informed. We'll let you know.
And with that, that closes out our first episode.
The maiden voyage.
First.
Of the
Numero uno.
Pizza Party Destiny Podcast.
Destiny Podcast, baby.
And I know I had fun.
And subscribe, please. We would really, really love it.
Sub to the channel.
And yeet slam that like button.
And Well of Radiance that bell.
Do that.
We'll catch you next time. Thank you. Thank you for watching.
So much.
I can't know.
What's that about?
Whenever she does that, we just
go. She's doing it so that she can find it later and then sync the audio.
Yeah. What's that about?
What was that about?
It makes them all a little bit slower.
Yeah, that would stink. I don't think it will be that way. I hope
you guys are already so slow with your hands anyway. And they nerfed it, but it didn't really do anything.
Yeah, I remember they nerfed it and it just stayed at the absolute top.
You owe me the tip of a crayon.
Eat it.
The tip of the crayon doesn't break. It gets used.
Just nibble on it a little bit.
I'm not taking a bite out of a crayon.
Just go.
I'm not really
Is it a crayon or a crayon?
A Crayola is what it is. Is what it is.
It
was me. Titan stuff. Where is it? And what did they say? We forgot.
It scared me.
I mean, what's that?
I'm super bummed that it's getting basically nerfed.
What, you don't get to look through walls?
No more looking through walls.
You don't get one-eyed chest?
One-eyed chest. Yeah.
Derailed. That's how you do it.
One-eyed chest.
But that'd be so neat.
Get your head out of your bum, you Titan.
That'd be so neat, though.
There's at least 3 warlocks up on this.
Yeah, wait.
There's probably 100.
When they make Saint 14, you always going up there. If they make Saint 14.
They will.
Funko, make it.
Bungie, call Funko.
Bungie, Funko, make it.
We're getting pointing at.
Smash that. Yeet that.
You yeet slam that like button, baby.
You're gonna have to say that again because I was talking.
Oh yeah.
She's talking.
The only problem is that these 2 ugly schmucks are sitting there talking.